Hello and welcome to today's ESPC community webinar. Today I'm joined by Maren Summers, who will cover the topic New Capabilities with SharePoint Pages. Remember to join in the conversation about today's webinar. Our handle is at ESPC_community and our hashtag is ESPC24. Tweet us, tag us and tell us what you learned. Don't forget to check out our Learning Hub, which is updated daily with the latest blogs, ebooks, webinars, and how-to videos. You can access and view the Learning Hub by visiting our website, sharepointeurope.com, and clicking the content link at the top. Don't let the learning stop here. Continue to keep up and stay ahead by joining us for our next webinar, Connecting to External Data in Copilot Studio with Mark Rackley. This webinar will take place the 30th of October, 4 to 5 p.m. CET. For more information on this webinar, please check out sharepointeurope.com/SharePoint-week. Our late bird sale for ESPC is now on. As part of our SharePoint Week, we're offering a €100 discount on top of the current sale price for ESPC 24 tickets. Use the code SharePointWeek to secure your spot. This offer is for new bookings only. Don't miss this chance to enhance your expertise in Microsoft 365, SharePoint, Azure, Power Platform, Copilot, and more. Don't miss out. Book now at sharepointeurope.com. We're delighted to announce that the call for speakers for EPPC 25 is now officially open. This incredible event will take place in Vienna from the 16th to the 19th of June 2025, and we are looking for Power Platform experts to share their insights. If you're knowledgeable in Power BI, Copilot, Power Automate, Copilot Studio, Power Pages, or any other Power Platform tool, this is a fantastic opportunity to present and inspire others. Find out more at sharepointeurope.com/submit to Speak EPPC. After the webinar, there will be a questions and answers session. Or indeed, if you have a question during the webinar, feel free to type it into the question box and Maren will try to get to it during the webinar. This webinar will be recorded and added to the Resource Centre where you've been notified by email when it's available. And I'm going to shortly pass you over to our presenter, Maren. Hello, Maren, and thank you for joining us.
Hello. Can you just double check if you can hear me, see my screen with the big slide?
Yeah, I'm just going to pass over now. So you should be.
Show my screen. There we go. It says on air showing screen. So Orla, are you seeing my
I
slides?
can see your screen. Yeah, I'm feeling we might have an issue with the recording though. Just a moment there.
I am seeing this session.
It's working now. Thank you. That would have been a bit of a disaster. We would have had to do the whole thing again, Maren. So thank you for waiting, everybody.
That's fine. Hello and welcome, everyone. I am super happy to be giving this ESPC webinar. For the people that know me, you know how crazy enthusiastic I am about SharePoint, and this is something that is very near and dear to my heart, because one of the things that I love to do the most is actually building intranets and building pages or sites that just look beautiful. And this session is all about all the new things that Microsoft is releasing for SharePoint Pages to make them look beautiful. So I'm super happy that I am capable and chosen to give this session to you, and hopefully you will learn a bit of too. I'm going to show you lots of videos, lots of images of things that are still coming. There's also a few things that are already rolling out or that have already rolled out, but I will talk about that later as well. Now, first of all, let's see, there we go. So this is me, this beautiful, handsome man, that is me. My name is Marijn. I've been working with SharePoint for over 16 years here in Belgium, but also in the Netherlands, and for a number of multinational companies as well. I've been an MVP for over 6 years now, which is amazing, so much fun. And I've got my own company, My 365 Coach, where I do productivity coaching, everything around Microsoft 365 anyway. Now, if you heard or seen me before somewhere, that might be in one of the conferences where I'm talking, but it might also be from the podcast Office 365 Distilled, where me and Steve Dalby are always talking about governance, about user adoption in Microsoft 365, and we always end with a whiskey tasting. So we just recorded episode 150 live in Hamburg at the Collab Days conference. So that means we've also tasted over 150 whiskeys. So that makes me, well, that I like to call myself now a spirit guide. So I like to call myself the Microsoft 365 spirit guide because of all the whiskeys. Anyway, fun fact about me, I'm also a licensed watchmaker. So I like to buy old watches, repair them, and then resell them again. So this is just a hobby. So that's a little bit about me, but let's go to my favorite topic, which is intranets and beautiful pages. As Orla already said in the beginning of the session, if you have any questions, we will have some time for questions at the end, definitely, but I'm going to show you a number of very specific things that are rolling out or have been rolled out or will be coming. If you have very specific questions around these things, please add them in the chat, and then Orla will just interrupt me and ask those questions. So don't feel shy, absolutely ask the questions if you have any questions about the things that you're seeing. Let's go. So this is a slide from Microsoft that I've seen a few months ago, and where Microsoft talks about intranets becoming more and more important, and they are the connective tissue between employees, even if they come to the office or they work from home or have a hybrid thing. So the intranet is the digital representation of your company. Yeah. And it needs to connect those employees that you have to your corporate identity, to your mission and your vision, where you want to go, the key information, all the policies, all the tidbits that they need to do their best work. But most of all, it should look fantastic. Yeah. We are all very visual people, so it just needs to look very, very good. And as I said in the beginning, I've been doing SharePoint for 16 years. I started my SharePoint journey in 2003. With 2007, we had the publishing sites and the publishing pages. Let's not talk about that because that was pretty horrible. It left us with lots of capabilities, but I'm so happy to showcase where we are today with the modern pages. Modern pages have been out for about 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And now we have the next wave of those things. Now, where we are today, because we need those fantastic looking intranets, where we are today is a little of the same. So today we see specific intranets, and they kind of all look the same. We all have these bars on top. We have our news and some of the images there. They just all look the same. And if you see an image of an intranet, you can immediately say that is a SharePoint intranet. Yeah. Now, what are the options that we have to make them look even better? So today we've got a few options. We can either buy a third-party system, we can build something ourselves, we can use Viva connections, or we can even start using Copilot. I will talk about Copilot later on, because no Microsoft 365 session can be done without mentioning Copilot at least once, right? So if we go the buy route, there are a few platforms out there that you can install on top of your SharePoint online system that can already make your intranet look very good. They have some extra capabilities, some extra layout options that you can get, but these might be very expensive, or they might become too expensive for the kind of company that you are, or maybe you just don't want to add anything on top of SharePoint. You just want to follow the default SharePoint route, so that's perfectly fine. So buying is not always a good option. It might be a very good option if you have a very specific use case. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but there might be other ways. Another way how you can work and make things look beautiful is by applying some formatting. So if you've been using lists or libraries, you might already know about these formatting things. There's a really good library, the PnP GitHub list formatting and view formatting library, where you can see in GitHub a number of these things already prepared, already built, where you can just reuse these things. And these are some of the examples that you can see there. The birthday example, when I show this to customers, they always want to have it. A list of beautiful looking birthdays of the people that are coming up. They always want that functionality. But there's so many cool things that you can do that just make your page look beautiful, make your data look beautiful, and it can just pop out there. So that is definitely a solution. This view formatting or list formatting or column formatting, that's all built in JSON, so that is pretty readable. Even if you are not a hardcore IT person, it is pretty doable. And that GitHub location that you will see there, that has a number of examples that you can just copy paste into your own environment. So that is very, very useful. Now, also Microsoft knows that we need to have beautiful looking pages and that we need to have compelling content. If we want people to read our content, if we want people to see what we are building, to read what we have, we need to have compelling content. And that kind of trickles down into a few blocks. So on the one hand, we want to have more fonts, more typography. We want to have more flexibility in how we lay out those pages. And we also want to play around with motion. More and more, we see the rise of video, like YouTube and TikTok and all these videos, these short form content, or just meetings, CEOs that are delivering a session about their quarterly results, something that we want to set up. So we are doing more with video. Microsoft is creating all kinds of things that you can do now with video to embed these into pages, or to even create video pages themselves. There's a lot of work for that as well to be done. And also it needs to be super easy to use to create those pages. Yeah. So these are the things that we want to have. Now, let's start our list of demos of all the cool things that are coming. So the first cool thing that is already coming, that you probably will already see, is the SharePoint main site. And I'm just going to show you this very quickly into my own environment. And I just need to say a little sorry for my own environment. It is in Dutch, but I'm just going to talk about what it is that you will see. So you will probably recognize this as this being the SharePoint start page. So if you go to the waffle icon, to the app launcher, and you go to SharePoint, this will be the page that you see. This will be the default page where you see all your used sites and your sites that you're following. This page is going to change. And you will already, if you go to this page yourself, you should already see this big banner here that says we are going to make this different. If you don't see this, here's a little trick for you to be able to see it. Is if you go to the URL, it ends with SharePoint.aspx. if you change that word SharePoint into begin.aspx, you will get that new page. So this is later this year going to be the new homepage of SharePoint. So it will no longer showcase all the sites that you're following, the sites that you're using. You can still find them here on that left-hand navigation on the My Sites button. These will still be there, your followed sites, the sites that you're using a lot, they will still be there. But this page will be totally focused on creating pages. So here on this page, you will already see all your recent pages that you've created. Now, why am I showing you this? Because this is definitely something that you want to tell to all your end users that are using SharePoint. Look, this page is going to change, very important. But also, I now have this button to create a new site, but also to create a new page. And if I'm creating a new page, this is super important. If I'm creating a new page, this page is being created, and you can see that here in my personal storage. So that means my OneDrive. That means up until now, every time we create a new SharePoint page, it always had to be in a SharePoint site. These are personal pages. These are pages that are only visible for me because they are in my OneDrive, but I can share them with other people if I want to. So that means I can now start to create personal pages that I want to use for myself and that I maybe want to share with other people. What could be use cases for this? A use case could be about me page. That could be something that you could create. This is who I am. This is what I do. These are some images. These are some links to my blog, to my LinkedIn, to my whatever. And I can share that with the whole company. Or I could also, for example, create my own start page, maybe. So this is very important. This is a big change. Creating personal pages is something that is now possible if we go from this place. Yeah. So that's a big change in how we can create pages or the way we can create pages, because I can now create my own pages that are not necessarily shared with other people in the organization. Now, the next slide is going to be a little overview video of a number of things that are coming, and I'm just going to let that play, and then we will deep dive into each of these elements that you will see.
I've got a question, Maren.
Yes, go ahead.
Jordi would like to know, if you create a page that is stored in your own OneDrive, is it still possible to transfer this to a SharePoint site?
Today it is very difficult to move pages. So files, you can just move them around. You have move to and copy to, that's super easy. For pages, that's still difficult. Today, that's pretty difficult. Also, I don't know if you may have seen this, but if I'm adding new web parts here, I don't have like the 50, 60, 70 web parts I normally have in a SharePoint page. I only have a few web parts available. So today, it's not possible to move them or to copy them. It might be in the future. I don't know. I haven't seen that functionality. I hope the functionality would come because I sometimes love to copy pages or move pages around. That would be very useful. Today, it's not there unless you work with Power Automate and use an HTTP thing. So today, not yet, but hopefully in the near future that might come. Yeah.
Thank you, Maren.
Really good question, by the way. If this would be a real life event, I would like throw some candy at you or something. Like, good question, thank you. So let's.
There's one more before you move on the
Okay,
same topic.
cool.
Can I
Sure.
use a custom web part on my personal page?
Oh, Really good question. I have no idea. I don't have any custom web parts on my own tenant, so I haven't tested it out. But that's a very good question. I have no idea. Sorry. I would say test it out. If you have if you're a developer, you build your own web parts, test it out. It should be available already. If you don't see that big banner on your SharePoint homepage, change that SharePoint.aspx into begin.aspx, and you will have access to it. Try it out, and definitely let me know as well, because once more, really good question. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
I have no idea. Good. So I always start this journey by saying, like, a few years ago we had the year of Yammer, and then the next year was still the year of Yammer. I feel now that this is the year of SharePoint Pages. There are so many new things coming, and in this little overview video you probably see a lot of new things that are out there. So that was a default SharePoint page, like no customizations done, just all default. So that will give you like a preview of all the cool things that are coming. So if you haven't created a new page in the last 2 months time, you will definitely see, if you now create a new page or modify a page, you will definitely see that that page editing experience has changed. So we see the section buttons, they are now in the middle. We also have this toolbox on the right hand side. We've got stock images already there. We've got a few buttons on the right hand side with these design ideas and other things that are coming. So this has already changed a little bit. So that is the first thing. The UI has changed a little bit. If you're used to creating pages, it might fool you a little bit about, oh, all these buttons have changed a little bit. Also, the button to modify things, it's now this little slider button. So it has changed a little bit. Not in a big way. You will still be able to create pages. You will still find everything, no worries. But it has changed a little bit. So that is one thing that you definitely need to look out for. Now, what else do we have? So one of the things that you saw in the little overview video is the hero web part that now has a carousel view. Yeah. Now, personally, and that is my personal opinion, I hate carousels because a carousel is hiding a number of other information. So here I've got my 5 tiles showing up. If I move that into a carousel, I'm losing 4 of these tiles. I'm losing 4 of the items that I'm now not seeing. So personally, I don't like carousels, but Microsoft is adding a carousel option to the hero web part. And I have to say, I do love the hero web part because it's a super visual way of showing a number of links or a number of items. So definitely use the hero web part for that. Now, another thing, and this is already available, and I like this, is the fact that on pages, instead of the default square looking images, you can now apply a shape, and you have got these round shapes, you got these little pebble shapes, you got the teardrops, and this is something that that is already available. It's already rolled out worldwide, and that can make your images on your page just look a little bit cooler. Instead of those default shapes, it just looks a little bit nicer. So that is definitely something that you can play around with already today. Now, also, you've probably seen already that there are a number of ways on how you can make your sections or your pages look a little better. Now, you can play around with colors, but what Microsoft always has in mind is accessibility. So even if you play around with these things and you're not a very good designer, or you don't really know what you're doing, you've just been given the task, create a nice looking page, know that sorry know that Microsoft will always have that accessibility mindset there first, and that whatever you do on your page Microsoft will always make sure that it will be readable. So if you have a light background, text goes black. If you have a dark background, text goes white. These things are already in there. Now, what is more in there is the new page toolbox that you see. There are a few other things that you will see. So, for example, background ideas that used to be white and your theme color and a few colors in between. They now rolled it out to have a number of extra backgrounds there, but you can also add your own backgrounds into the mix. So if you have a nice looking image, or you used Microsoft Designer to create a nice looking image, you can now use those images as your section background, and you can play around with the focal points. You can put some filters on that. There are so many things that you can do. Play around with the opacity, play around with the overlay colors to really make your information shine and to make your page look beautiful. Yeah.
There's a couple
So
of
definitely, if you have,
questions.
yes, go
Sorry,
ahead.
Maren. Sorry. There's a couple of questions on the hero banners. Is it possible to apply a custom color in the background section? I think you might have answered that one already, but maybe just to be sure.
In the hero web part, I am not sure. Let's switch back to that hero web part. So this is the little video that we have. And if we switch that to a carousel, by default, this is white. I haven't played around to see what we can do there, but this is going to be that section that is page wide. So that looks like the page wide section. I haven't seen the functionality to change that background color, but I do believe that that should be in there. But I'm not sure. I haven't played with that yet because I haven't.
And
I don't have that carousel yet into my own environment today.
Okay, perfect. And Maren, the second one is we have usability and accessibility issues with the current hero web part in that it doesn't present links as regular links, i.e. the user cannot right click and open them in a new window. Has that been fixed in the new hero web part?
No, it hasn't. No, that's still a thing. Yeah. Yes, and there are a few usability issues that still arise. There was earlier this week a really good blog post, and I can't think of the person that wrote it, but it's a person from Austria, a developer that wrote a little blog post about the new banner web part not being fully accessible. So there are still a few issues, and Microsoft is aware of these, and they will be making them better. If you have this specific issue or this specific need, please go and send that out to Microsoft, either to your salesperson, but there's also a feedback page on SharePoint. So please use that feedback page to give that feedback to Microsoft. Microsoft and the product teams are looking at these things, so they will see those things and they will act accordingly to those specific needs. So definitely give that feedback to Microsoft so that they know about it and that they can actually improve their products.
Okay, thank you. There's a couple of more questions, but they're more in general, so we might leave those till the end, perhaps.
Yes, good. Okay. Let's jump a little bit forward. So that was our background ideas. Something that is also coming, and I hope it's coming soon, is our video background. So today we can already use an image as a background. Later this year, we will also be able to use like GIFs and videos as a background. I think that's going to be very nice looking, but it could also take your attention a little bit away of reading the content. So for example, when I see this, I only see that little drone flying around, I'm not tempted to read the text because there's a lot of things happening. But I've also seen other examples with, for example, like a meadow with grass, and the grass is like smoothly blowing in the wind. That just looks fantastic. So it's like the old Spider-Man quote, with great power comes great responsibility. So once we have this functionality, please be mindful of how you use it, and don't use it everywhere, please. So, but I think it's going to be a very cool thing. Another cool thing that will be coming is the section background shapes. So today all our sections are square shaped. This is something that will be coming as well, and these are the section overlays, and how we can move from one section to the next. I think that also looks very, very beautiful. Now, this is going to be another overview with a number of really cool features. I'm also just going to let this play. And these are some of the features that I'm very, 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 very enthusiastic about. All right, so just like with the previous overview video, let's break down what we're seeing here. And the first thing that we seen, or that you might have not even noticed, is the new way to apply different fonts to our SharePoint. So for the longest time, SharePoint always had the default Segu UI font, and there was no way to change it unless you would really start building a new thing with a developer that would rewrite the whole HTML and CSS. Now today there is it is rolling out. The new brand center is rolling out, where you can add your own fonts, where you can add your own colors, and make these into packages, and then apply these to your SharePoint sites. Yeah. I do have this functionality into my own environment, so I can just, instead of showing you the little video, I can just show you how it looks like in real life. So the new brand center is something that you will find in your Microsoft.com admin. So not in your SharePoint admin, but in the tenant admin center. It is going to be under settings, and under organizational settings you will find this new thing called Brand Center, and here you will have a link to your Brand Center application. Yeah. That Brand Center application, that looks like this, and I've already added a few fonts. I've already created a number of colors. So one of the questions I've always had with SharePoint was, how can I create my own custom colors, my own organizational team colors? And that you could use that, but there was this website that you needed to use where you could apply your RGB or your hex color code, and that would give you like a JSON code, and then a developer with admin rights needed to put that JSON code into a PowerShell, and then you can apply it. There was some work to be involved. Yeah, so it was not very difficult, but there was some work involved. Today, what we can do is we can just say, in my brand center, I want to create a new color, and that color will just be a specific color. I can give that a title, and that color will be saved. So I can add my own brand colors here. Same thing with my fonts. I can just go in here, my brand fonts, and I can just have my font files, my TTF files that I use for the website or something else, and I can just upload them here. Now, both these fonts and these brand colors, I can define them here, but if I want to use them, I need to package them into a font package or a theme. So here I can create a new font package, and in that font package, I need to say, this is the specific font I want to use for my display. This is what I want to use for my content. and then I want to use this for my headline, for my body, and for any interactive things. So you can use like the bold fonts, the italic fonts, things like that to be used in a very specific way. You need to give your font package a name so that you can also use it later on. Same thing with your themes. So you've created your colors, or you added your colors into SharePoint, then you can just say, I want to create a new theme, and there you can actually choose the colors that you've been using, give that theme a name, save that, and it will be available in your SharePoint sites. So super easy. No letter of code is involved in creating these things. It is very easy to do. Now, this is something that is, if I'm not mistaken, rolling out. So it might be that you don't see these theme options and these font options just yet, but they are rolling out. So if you don't see them today, they will be appearing in the next days or the next weeks. And the result of that could be something like this. So this is my own play environment, this is my own playground, where I have this nice image as a background image, but you can also see that I am using a very specific font. Yeah, so these are my very specific fonts that I'm using. How can I apply these? If I go very default into my little cogwheel here, and then I go to change the look, just like we can do today. Here will be my fonts, and these will be my fonts that I've created in that brand center, or I can choose my fonts, and here I can choose all these fonts, the font packages that I've added. So I can switch back to the default Microsoft one. Microsoft also has a few available that you can just use out of the box, or you can use your own fonts that you've uploaded there as well. Yeah. Now
A
you've
question
also
on
seen.
that.
Sure. Yes.
Sorry, Marian, I'm not
No,
being very good at coming in at the right time today. Erica would like to know, if you change the font, will it change across the whole site or just the page you're working on?
No, it's on site level. Yes.
Perfect.
So all the pages that I now create will have that same font. So you also see this is the font of my menu, and the menu is available on all the pages within my site. So it is on a site level, yes. But it also means that if I have 5 sites, for example, I can give each site a different font if I want to. So this is just using the same change the look functionality that we have today as well, and that is just site-wide.
Perfect.
Good question.
One other comment was, just when you were playing the videos there was no sound, was there? We didn't
No,
hear
there's
any
no sound on the videos. No,
Perfect.
exactly. No.
Thank you.
Also a good question. I should have mentioned that before. Yes.
I know we checked, but I somebody was asking and we forgot to mention it. So just to say,
really good question. Perfect. No, it's just a little overview video of all the things that that are rolling out. Now I see that we are running out of time, so I'm quickly jumping back into my slides, because there's a number of things that I want to show you, and there's one thing in particular that I'm super excited about, and I definitely want to show you that. So this is the fonts and our brand centers. How can we do that with Microsoft 365 admin? That will lead us to the brand center, where we can create font packages and colors, and we can build the themes. These are some of the screenshots. In case if my demo wouldn't work, then I could have shown you at least some of the slides, but I've shown you this before. Now, this is one of the things I am very happy about. I am making a lot of PowerPoints, yeah, and I am terrible at making PowerPoints. Now, thankfully, Copilot has been such a nice help, but for years, I've been using design ideas in PowerPoint. So I would just write down on a slide whatever I wanted to have, and then I would use design ideas to make that slide look beautiful. Yeah. Now those design ideas, they're coming to SharePoint. Well, they are already here for me in my environment. So when I've created something, I can now go to the right-hand side, click on those little stars, and that is going to be my design ideas. and that will give me some AI-driven ideas on how to make this section more beautiful, more readable, more beautiful, more popping out. And I think that is a very cool functionality, because we've had it in PowerPoint for so long. We even had it in Word for quite some time. But SharePoint and our SharePoint Pages, something that we really want to shine, something that we really want to pop out, didn't have that before. So now we have that. Now, today it is in its infancy. Today it will launch with a focus on text and images. But Microsoft is adding more and more capability into that design idea feature, so that in a few months, or in a few weeks, months, maybe years, it will only become more powerful. Just like with the design ideas, when that just came out, it was pretty horrible, but today it is just amazing. I'm using it all the time. Same thing here with our pages, the design ideas. I think that is something that is going to be absolutely a game changer for people that don't have that visual cue, that don't know how to make beautiful pages. They can just start writing down whatever they want, and they can use the design ideas to really make that page look beautiful. So very cool thing that I'm looking forward to as well. And this is the one thing that just, when I saw this, my jaw was just on the floor, because this is the craziest thing I've seen in years. So within SharePoint, if you've ever created a SharePoint page, you know that we can have sections, and every section can have 1 column, 2 columns, 3 columns. We can have 3 columns, maybe that extra right-hand sidebar as well, but that's it today. This is something that is coming next year that I am super excited about. This is called flexible layouts. So instead of 3 columns, we now have 12 columns. And every web part that we add onto this flexible layout, we can play around with how wide we want this item to be. Do we want this to be 1 column? Do we want this to be 5 columns? How high do we want this to be? This really is something I am super, super, super excited about. A few months ago, this was on the roadmap to be launched before the end of the year. I just checked last week, and it is now on the roadmap to be launched next year in April timeframe. But I'm just, when I look at this just makes me crazy. This makes my heart sing, because this is going to be the way how, if you've ever created a website in the last 2 years with Wix or with something else, you know how this works. You've got a page, you can just drop everything on your page, and you can drop it wherever you want this to be. This is the exact same functionality. So this is going to be the way how we can create really cool pages with lots of information, and we can just have total control of where we want everything to be. So this is something I'm really looking forward to be launched. This flexible layouts. So what else do we have? We have co-authoring. Up until today, we can work with multiple people on the same Word file, PowerPoint, Excel, things like that. In a lot of applications, we can do co-authoring. SharePoint was not one of them. So I've seen it multiple times, definitely over the summertime. People were changing a page, didn't republish it, only changed it. They went on to holidays, and I had to change the page, but it was locked for that specific person. So the only thing I could do is delete those changes from that person and overwrite their version. Now, this is what is coming, and this is the co-authoring functionality, where with multiple people at the same time, we can start working on those pages. So we can write down text, we can add web parts on there, we can add sections, we can change sections, we can just work with multiple people at the same time on this thing. What we will also have is next to this co-authoring functionality is the functionality of commenting. So today you have this functionality for Word files as well, where you can say to people, you cannot edit my page, but you can review it, meaning you can add comments to my page, but not change it. So this is kind of the same functionality where you can say to people, you cannot change my page, but you can add some comments on my page, which will of course not be visible when you publish the page. But this way you can have people collaborate with you without changing things on the page. So I think that also will be a very nice functionality that we will have. Now, I need to be very honest with you, and this functionality today, it's not rolled out to my environment yet, but this functionality and definitely that previous functionality with collaborating with multiple people about the same thing. Sorry, I'm screwing up a little bit. Yes, working together on the same thing. There's one issue with this, and that is that the button to discard changes is gone. So if I jump back to this page where you can see that I'm working with multiple people on the same page, in the menu on top, you see that there's no discard changes thing. So that's a little bit of a problem for me, because what I like to do is I like to go into a page, and if we have a meeting about a page and we want to change the page, I want to edit the page, I want to do a little changes, and then just to show people how those changes will look like in a brainstorming exercise or something. And what I would normally do is, instead of publish it, because I don't want to publish it, I just want to go back to the previous version. I just wanted to discard changes and just jump back to the previous version. That functionality is no longer here. That button is now gone, because if you work together with multiple people, there's no way to discard all those changes and to go back. So the only way how to do it is to actually go into your version history and jump back to the previous version, which is fine, but it is a little more clicks. So that's something I don't like just yet. Mark Anderson wrote a blog post about it, and he posted this as a feedback to Microsoft, and you can vote on that idea. So if you also want to have the discard changes button back, look up Mark Anderson and the discard changes button, and you will absolutely find the link there. And please vote for that, so that Microsoft brings back the discard changes. That would be definitely a lifesaver for me as well. So important. All right, let's go to the next bits. I've got the roadmap. Now, this is a slide that was published by Microsoft in June. There's a number of things that are already rolled out. There are a number of things that are coming. Most important bit is for me at least, the flexible layouts that will appear in March 2025. I hope they will have it earlier, but we will see. Now, what could be next? Copilot, of course. Just 2 minutes about Copilot. Now, this was a slide that, or a cartoon that I found super funny, is because we're all creating new things with Copilot and people are using Copilot to read new things. Can't we just skip it? No, we need to build more things, so we need to fire up the nuclear reactor. I found that very funny, because that was on the report that Microsoft is buying the 3 Mile Island nuclear facility to build up that thing again, so that they have some nuclear power to power up all the Copilot stuff. I thought that was super funny. So today we are still building beautiful looking intranets, and that is very cool. But with Copilot, we can have that chat with Copilot about all the things that we need. So if we look at what is the idea behind an intranet, it is about finding information that is important to you. It's about connecting with people. It's about knowing all the things that you need to do. And we can definitely use Copilot for that. So today I am building intranets where I'm putting HR policy documents, for example, and I'm creating navigation so that people can navigate to those policy documents, find those and read them and make them look good. But it could be that much easier. We can just use Copilot in the near future to do just that. So I can ask, can I bring my dog to the office? And then Copilot would say, well, I found this pet policy document, and that says that you can't do that. And then I can interact with that and find more information about that. So maybe the next intranet is not an intranet anymore. It's just a group of documents that Copilot can talk to. And we can already do that today if we could build an intranet agent. I don't know if you've seen the wave 2 of the Copilots that talks about creating your own agents. Excuse me, talking about creating your own agents that would do IT help desk, that would do projects, that would do meetings, that would do these things. So why not create an intranet agent where people can interact with? And how hard can it be? I looked up Copilot Studio. It is so easy because you can use Copilot to create a Copilot agent about that, and it can just look at that information and you're ready to go. So in 2 minutes time, you can have your intranet agent that people can interact with. With that, I would like to finish off indeed with, because I know that we're running out of time, with do come to ESPC. I will be there at ESPC. I'm giving a session together with Sari Sonoya about streamlining communications with Viva Amplify. That will also talk about the new functionalities that you will see in SharePoint. So definitely useful. And you can use the discount code Maran10 to save money on tickets. And with that, Orla, bring on the questions.
Yes, great. I'll try and group some of them together because they are similar. 2 OneDrive ones to start with. Hi, Maren. If you create a page that is stored on your own OneDrive, is it still possible to transfer this to a SharePoint site? First one, and then another one that might be somewhat related. You said that pages created for your own personal site are stored on your OneDrive. Where exactly are they accessible via OneDrive?
They're not accessible via OneDrive because OneDrive is only showing you that document library, and these will be stored in a page library that is not accessible by the UI. You will see them in that main page. You will see all those files or those pages there. But by today, there's not really a way to actually go to the page library on your OneDrive. Maybe that will change in the future. I don't know. I haven't seen that today. And the other question was about moving these pages. Today, there's not a possibility to move pages very easily. You can do that with files, move to, copy to. That's all there in document libraries. It's not there on page libraries, or maybe not yet there on page libraries. So today, it's not possible to move those pages around. But I hope in the future they will make that available because that would be a very useful functionality.
Great. Is multi-languages supported on these pages? Are multi-languages supported on these pages? Yeah.
Ah, that is also a very good question. I'm guessing no, because these will be stored in your own OneDrive and you can't go to your language settings on your own personal OneDrive. If you want to have that functionality, go give that feedback to Microsoft, and if enough people vote on that idea, they will build it. So I'm living in Belgium. We have 3 national languages. We would definitely that would definitely be a very useful functionality. Sorry. Yes.
Okay. Perfect. The next one is, I see some icons in the menu. Is this a new feature? I think this was earlier in the webinar, when you were showing your own demo. Yeah.
If we go here to the page, if I want to edit my page, there are definitely a number of extra buttons available. So this is all new. We got the toolbox, we got the properties, we got the design ideas. This is not gonna give me any design ideas because it's an empty page. that is all new. So this whole toolbox section, that is all new, and that's going to be different depending on what kind of part that you want to use. Now, there's one thing that I have not talked about, and that is also one of the things that I'm really happy about, is the fact that now our heading of a page is now a web part. So it's now a banner web part, and that also means I can just get rid of it. If I don't want to show a title, I can just get rid of the whole title banner part. Yeah. So if I want to add it again, I can just add a section that is a full width section, and here I can add my banner web part again. That would show a title and who's creating this, and maybe publishing date as well. So that would be there. And there are also a number of extra functionalities on how to show this. So for example, you've got the image and title that you probably know already. You have the plain one and the overlap one. These are all standard. There are two new ones. One is the author one, and the other is the fade one. So these are new, and you can also just get rid of these if you want in SharePoint, but also on your personal pages.
I think a related question to that was, do you know when the ability to set the heading style / size and web parts titles is due for general release?
I know that this is rolling out. I think that it is almost rolled out completely. So if you want to try that out, go to your personal SharePoint page, change that into begin.aspx, click on create an empty page, and then you should already have that experience, and see if you can indeed get rid of that banner title area. I think it's not fully rolled out yet. I think it's still rolling out. You can check that on the roadmap website, but it should be close to rolled out globally. Because I've seen this for a few weeks already, so that should almost be done.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I think you might have answered this one already, or a similar one to it. Can a personal site be made accessible outside one's organization?
I haven't tested that yet, but I think it should be possible, because in the end, this is just a page sitting in my OneDrive. So well, we can just test that out. So I can share this page, and normally I should be able to. Oh no. Well, it says people with existing access or people in my organization. I don't have that anyone link here, which I did enable for my OneDrive, but I can say here that I want to have people that I choose. So if I say, for example, I want to have John at outlook.com, for example, I can do that. So it says he's outside of my organization. I don't know who that person is. I just use that as a test, but it says that I can do that. So I can share these files with people outside of my organization. Yes.
Great.
So if your OneDrive has that functionality that you can share outside of your organization, that should apply to your pages as well.
Great, thank you. Is the new page experience, are there any options to copy web parts across pages?
Not yet. I haven't, well, not yet. I haven't seen that functionality yet. So I haven't seen this functionality where I can say, I've got a text web part, I want to copy this, and then I want to go to a new page and paste this function, or paste this web part. I haven't seen that, so I don't know if that's coming. That would be pretty cool, actually, because, for example, if you create lots of quick links, I sometimes have that need that I want to have the same 20 quick links that I want to show those on 5 different pages. Today, that is not possible, and that would be a very cool addition if we could do that. Yes, but I haven't seen it. No.
Okay. We're running out of time now, so I don't know how many more we'll get to, but they're still coming in.
So
me too. If you can stay on, great. Okay, that one has been answered. Will there be some better admin tools out of the box to use when moving, copying pages, sites, etc.? Today is ShareGate one of few super expensive solutions to use?
I know. Um, One of the ways how I move pages around or copy pages around is use Power Automate, which is, I know, not always the best, and it still involves a number of things that you need to set up and create that little workflow. But you can use an HTTP request. There's some really good blog posts about that, where you can actually say, okay, I create a little workflow that says this page, and I want to move that from this site to somewhere else. Yes, there's a workaround where you don't have to go to a expensive solution, but there's today not a better way to do it, I'm afraid.
Great, thank you. Is it possible to change Delve to this personal page?
Well, Delve is actually going away. So in a few weeks' time, Delve is just gonna stop existing. And one of the things that I really want and I've been wanting for years now is a good personal profile page. Now, this way I can create one, but it's not going to be linked to my contact card, for example. So if I'm publishing this page, if I click on a person's name, it's going to open this contact card. This page is not linked to that contact card. I really hope that in the near future, there's going to be something so that we can link these things, because I need a good about me page where people can go to and find out all my hobbies or my whatever. I'm really looking forward to that. Delve is going away, and there's not a way on how you can add this to whatever is coming today. So I really hope that they will do it in the near future. I've already given Microsoft that feedback that I really want this to happen, but yeah, we'll see. So if you want this, definitely give that feedback to Microsoft so that we can have this.
Great, thank you. One more comment or one more question. Does the storage of personal pages count towards the available OneDrive storage space?
I believe it will. Now, there's not a lot of things that you can do here. So if you see what you can add is you can add some images. These will be stored in your OneDrive. You can add some text. So there's not a lot of things here that will take up lots of storage. Now, this will of course count to your 1 terabyte by default of storage that you will have. But there's not really a way to, like, there's no document library, for example, that you can add here. So if you want to share documents, that still needs to happen in your OneDrive, and not with these pages, or not yet. Maybe with these pages, I don't know where they're going from here, but yeah.
I think that's all we've got time for. Maren, thanks so much for taking the time, and thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks again. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone, and hopefully see you at ESPC. I'm just putting back up this slide here for you to see one more time, 2nd to the 5th of December. And a reminder that our call for speakers is also open for EPPC. Thanks, guys, and take care. Thanks, Maren.